Okay, so here is the 2004 Yamaha Grizzly four-wheeler. Uh, Same as the other four-wheeler. It needs the carburetor cleaned, new battery, and put back together. So this thing has everything on it that you can imagine if you are outdoorsman, a deer hunter, or duck hunter, or whatever. It has the big gun rack on it. It's got the back box. It's got the front box. This thing is a 660 automatic. So these are still popular four-wheelers. They're pretty decent four-wheelers too. Yamaha really did a good job on these. It actually has the same engine as the 660 Rhino, belt driven. This one's got a factory Yamaha winch. You see it's got the Yamaha little pull rope. So it's set up for a couple years. He took the carburetor off of it to clean it and never put it back together. So I got a carburetor, I got a clean, new air filter, changed the oil. There is a shift sensor that I got to replace. I'll find my flashlight. He tried to pull it out, but he couldn't get it out of the block. That sensor right there, that's actually the neutral safety switch. And that thing tells you what gear it's in up here on the dash, because this has digital dash. So we got a new one of those. He broke the tabs off of it. Looked like he took the bolts out, but he couldn't get the rest of the sensor out. So I got a new one of those. I got to get the old one out and get this baby back running. Like I say, she's a big girl. Got the hand protectors, the old bush guards on it. ITP tires and wheels. It's got the lower A-arm guards on it. Independent suspension on the rear. So this thing, I don't know if he bought it new or where he got it from, but it's pretty much all stock, and it don't have a snorkel kit on it, so that's a good thing. It hasn't been underwater. So just all stock. It's even got the front A-arm like axle protectors. So anyway, I'm going to get the carburetor cleaned, get that sensor out. Got a new Yosa battery for it. Change the oil and see if we can get this thing fired up. So this is our 660 Grizzly carburetor, and we're going to break it open and see what's going on with it. Now he took it off, but I don't think he never went in it. He never got as far as just taking it off. So but we're gonna see what's in it. I didn't really get a backstory on this four-wheeler. I think it was running. I think that's what he said. And then he let it sit. I don't know how long, but once we get this bowl off, we'll be able to tell. Not too shabby. Look at that. That carburetor, look at the bowl. Even the gas smell good. Well, I guess we'll just go to the jets, make sure they're straight, but that don't look bad at all. I don't know why he said the carburetor needed clean, but I think we got some extra parts. But I don't remember. Got a needle and seat. Got a fuel filter. But I don't know if this needle and seat goes. That needle, that don't go to this. That's a screw-in type. I don't know what that goes to. That don't look like the needle and seat to this. But yeah, this carburetor's pretty decent. So I'm just gonna take the jets out, and that's some kind of motorcycle, big motorcycle thing. Take the jets out, make sure they're not stopped up. Even the gasket stayed intact. That jet looks good. I don't think there's nothing too much wrong with this carb. But we got a new spark plug, new air filter for this one. To me, this thing looks good. See a little bad gas or dirt on the float. It's got a little. Oh, that is the right needle and seat. If you look at that seat, it's got like a squarish part to it. Maybe it had a flooding problem, that's why he bought it. Or it kept leaking gas, you know. I've never seen a how do you even get that thing out of there? I've never seen a seat like that before. So anyway, we don't want trash to get on it. I'm gonna sit on this plastic. Definitely don't want to hurt that gasket. Hang that right there. And should be able to pull that out of there with some needle nose. Yeah, that's the old seat and the old needle. Now these little rubber tips will wear down on these things over time, and they won't seal right inside of the seat, and that's why your carburetor start leaking gas out of the bottom of it through a vent tube or overflow tube, because this little rubber tip on that needle, sometimes they get hard and it won't shut off, let the gas through, the stop going through. So that's why we got the new one. The tip's nice and soft. Nice and soft. Anyway, I'm gonna just do I think we got a new fuel filter too. I'm gonna do a quick spray through, cause ooh, I do see some trash in there. I don't know if y'all can see it. There's a little trash up in there where the seat came out. See that brown stuff? I don't think it would need soaking, but we'll do a clean up. We'll take this out, clean it up real good. In here, there's a diaphragm. Uh-oh. That flew across the room. There's actually a spring in there. I see the top. I'll find it though. There's a little diaphragm in there. I think this is the anti-backfire diaphragm. Something about it won't make the combustion inside the carburetor backfire or something. I can't remember. I'll find out, because I had a Rhino and it used to backfire all the time, and that diaphragm was bad. Now I gotta find the spring. Here's the top. But I'm going to clean this thing out real good. Just to be sure that ooh, those are tight. I have to get those out of there. Just to be sure this thing is clean, I'm gonna clean it out real good and stick it back together, and we'll stick it on there and see what it does. So I got the carburetor back together. I went through it, cleaned it up some. I did find out what this diaphragm do, which I already knew some of it. This is called a air cutoff valve diaphragm, and what this does, it eliminates the lean conditions and backfiring during hard deceleration. So if you got a Grizzly or a Rhino, and every time you're riding, you're at high speed and you let off the gas and it pow, that means this diaphragm can be bad. And I had a Yamaha Rhino that did that. Every time we'll be going down the hill and I let off the gas, it'll backfire. So just something to think about if you're having that problem. But we're going to put it back in there. It's still got some life left to it. So it's called a air cutoff valve. Oop, don't want to lose the spring again. Took me a minute to find it. And they don't cost that much. Just gotta make sure you get it. right back on the carb. So there we go. So it's all together, and we're going to get it back on the bike and see what it does. Okay, right off the bat, I want to try and get this sensor out of here because it's hung off in there and I got to replace it. And I would like to go ahead and tackle this job first. That was it. I just took a crowbar, tapped on it, and it popped out. He couldn't do that. That's why he wanted me to do it. But this is the sensor here. And I'm going to go get the new one. Yamaha part number. So this is the Yamaha part number here. And this is the brand new one. I'll take it out of the package. And that's how it looks. It's got these two ears on it. And you put that in the block, and I believe these are the screws right here. Does he laid them there? It gotta be. A lot of that stuff is off in this compartment. Battery cover. Full of weeds. You let it sit outside uncovered. That's the little cover. Side battery tender. A bunch of screws in there. But anyway, it should just pop right in. Probably need to put a little. Oh, it doesn't even come with an O-ring. So you gotta take the O-ring off of the old sensor. Well, they cheated. They should at least put the O-ring on there. What if you destroy the O-ring getting the old one out? That's dumb. Well, you basically just pop it back in the block. There's two bolts, and there's the plug in. It plugs. Over here on the side right here, and that tells you what gear it's in when you put it in gear up here. This is actually your gear selector sensor. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that in, and we can move on to getting the carburetor cleaned. I guess before I put the carburetor in, because it sits way up under there. Right there, you see the boot. Before I put the carburetor in the air box, I go ahead and change the oil filter. I got a new oil filter for it, so go ahead and change that in case it don't want to come off, and we should be good as gold. So I'm gonna work on that. We'll fire it up. Alright, so got the carburetor on. I had to dig through every little nick and nanny down in there to find a little O-ring that goes on the side here where this plate goes to cover up the throttle. So found the screws. We got the oil filter on. I got a test bottle hooked up. I'm gonna go ahead and go up under it and drain all the oil out. We got fresh oil for it. I'm gonna change the oil before I even fire it up. I think we got a new spark plug too. I'm gonna pop a new spark plug in it. Just try and do everything before I put the gas tank back on. We'll fire it up, make sure the carburetor runs out right, and if it does, then we'll start putting all the stuff back on, the air box. This cover here, this is the oil cover. Covers up where you put the oil at. There's the rear air box boot. And I thought this was a battery cover. Minus wire. What that mean? Maybe that is the battery cover. Like that. I forgot where that goes. But so what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and get this oil out. Like I said, put the fresh oil in it, spark plug. We'll put some gas in it, put the new battery in it, and see what she does. So I got the battery in this thing, and I was just gonna bump the starter over, see what it bump over. And come to find out, I can't get it to get to the neutral position or the park. So right now it's in high range. If I shift it, this rod right here barely moves. I don't know if it's set up and rusted up inside of this shifter housing. It's stuck in high range. It's definitely in gear. But if I take a bar, just kind of press against this rod right here. So now it's in neutral. Let's see what it turns over. So it turns over. The neutral light's on, so we know the sensor's working, and it should be, yeah, that's neutral. But if I shift out of it, it's not going. Not going to neutral. Something in here is wore out or something. Maybe that's why he stopped riding it. Let's see. If I help it with this crowbar, that's neutral right there. So I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on inside of that shifter unit. Because like I said, only thing it does is pull this bar that goes back here to the differential or the transmission on this thing. And as you see, I can get it to go forward, but that's stuck in high. If I bump it hard, it'll go low, high. That should be neutral. And everything's flying off this thing. See, I can't get it to go you're supposed to be able to pull it over and back. For park. But if I take the bar, see, now it's in neutral. So I'm gonna have to take this apart, see what's going on. I don't know if rusting got in there. This thing's been sitting outside for a long time. Something in there is just not lubed. It's got this rubber boot on it, and it's got like a little band clamp. I don't know how that comes off of there. I'm gonna have to try and get into there. It's got a little drain right here. I bet you this is full of water. Let's see what comes out. If water comes out of there, then I know for a fact that it didn't set up and rusted. Yep, we had some water come out. Not a whole lot. So it didn't set up and got water inside of this shifter housing, and it didn't rusted up something. So I'm gonna pop that apart. We'll look in there and see what's up with it. So I found out what's up with the shifter. First of all, you gotta have the parking brake lock, because there's a cable that runs over here, 2 cables. You can push down the foot pedal, that activates the cable that goes into the shifter, and when you take this boot off, there's a little peg in there. I'm trying to get it off there. There's a little peg down in there that cable pulls. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see in there because the boot's gonna keep falling. Yeah, it's kind of dark, but there's like a little peg that's on the end of this cable right here. There's a cable right behind here that runs into the shifter. So when you push down on the brake pedal or the emergency brake, this also operates the rear brake, but you can lock it with the little lock thing there. Then you can shift it. But this shifter has a lot of slop in it. I was able to get it to go to neutral, but it don't want to go to park because there's so much slop. I even tried to adjust the rod. Like right now, let's see, that's neutral there. I can go to, that's reverse. Let's see, when I go to park, I'm all the way in park. The only way I can get it to go in park, if I push back on that rod, now it turns over. And when I come out, so that should be reversed immediately. And then when I go to high, see, I'm all the way up. It won't go to high unless I help it. I mean low, I mean. So something's up. Something's up with this shifter's got a lot of slop in it. I mean, this thing has got, I think it's got 4,700 hours on it. You can barely see it. 47, I can't tell what that says. But I know it's got 1882 on the odometer. and 40, looks like 47.57 or 47.19. So he's gonna have to get another shifter for it. Cause like I said, it's got a lot of play in there. But we can still crank it, you can still ride it, just gonna have to fiddle with it to get it to go to reverse. But I'm gonna go ahead, get some gas, and let's get some gas in it and see, can we get it fired up for the first time in forever. And at least hear it run, see what the carburetor does. Let's go get some fuel. And if you're wondering how that rubber boot comes off on that shifter, it's got this little band clamp. This actually faces the front of the four-wheeler, and you just have to unhook it like that. But I'm gonna leave it off for right now, just in case I need to get back in there. But let's pour some gas in it anyway. See, can we get it cranked? Just a little bit. See if we get this thing started up, and maybe it will run all right. Then we can move on to putting all the plastics and stuff back on. Choke is on. That didn't take long. Actually, it runs pretty good. Well, we put it in gear, it's hard to get it back in neutral, so we're not going to worry about that right now. I think we're ready to ride it. is ready now. The Grizzly. I need to oil that switch. Let's see, will it restart? Oh yeah. So the next step is I got to drain that gas tank. It's got gas in it, but it's been sitting outside so long, it's probably got moisture and water in it. So I'm gonna drain that gas tank out and put some fresh gas in it. That way I know that the gas is good. Won't have to worry about having bad gas in the carburetor we cleaned. Also, I gotta put the spark plug in it too. I forgot to, because I was dealing with that shifting problem. But man, it sounds good. Sounds real good, real healthy. Once that gas got in that carb, it fired right up. So next step, like I said, get the gas tank on it, and I got to put the air box on it, and I'm gonna let him know about that shifter problem, and maybe we can take it out for a spin. So I'm gonna work on buttoning all that up, and we will get it out as soon as we can. See if we can get this thing back on the trail. So here's our new air filter, straight from Yamaha. There's the part number in case you need it. That's the air filter. This is actually the housing that the air filter goes on, the plastic. I've never replaced these. I guess he lost some of this stuff. Well, actually, it's the metal housing that the air filter goes on, and this is the little end cap that goes at the end of it. So that's part number for that, and this is the part number for the metal housing part. So I got the air box back on there, and I did find a small problem he gonna have to correct too, but this is just for testing. This boot is dry rotted. It's got a crack right on the top. So you have to get a new one of those. But we're just gonna put it together and put it around. And so I'm gonna get this on, make sure all this works right. And like I said, we'll put it around. I'll let him know about the boot. If he wants to order it, I'll go ahead and stick it on there, or he can stick it on there. But we're not going to swamp it or nothing. We're just going to put it around a little bit. Make sure the carburetor holds up and runs all right, and he can get it back, and we can move on to something else that's coming. Just have to wait and see. Okay, the 2004 Yamaha Grizzly 660 is ready to return to its rightful owner, and he said he will take care of the shifting part. I did go back through this thing, and there's a shaft in there that is wore out, I guess from shifting over time, and the rust had got into it, and it's not letting it catch as you shift it. So he said he'll take care of that. So it does still drive. I just put the side cover on there for now. Brand new side cover he bought. But it is ready to go back. We're gonna take it out for a quick spin, make sure it still runs good and everything, brakes and all that, which they feel like they stopped good. And it can go back. So we'll be moving on. to some more stuff. Alright, here it is, the Grizzly. This thing got a lot of power, just like the Yamaha Rhino, just a four-wheeler, but it does have a lot of power. Clams heels like it ain't nothing. Good deer hunting rig. Get you where you need to go, drag your deers back. Or ducks, or bears, coyote, tigers, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it does run good. Like I say, other than the little shifting problem, this would be a good four-wheeler. Go mudding with, or use around the farm, or hunting. So I'm gonna ride around a little bit more, and I'm gonna load it up and get it on back to him, and hopefully he'll use it this time. I didn't try the winch. It should work. I don't know if it works or not. I might take a look at that too. I don't know if it's got some kind of switch. Just got in and out. Like I said, a lot of this stuff I don't know about is already on there, so he basically just wanted me to get it running, and he'll do the other stuff. So we got it running, we got it riding. Let's get out of here. That thing will come up on 2 wheels.